Welcome, data people. We are Zuma. My name is Matt, and this is the Data for Good podcast. This podcast is brought to you by Zuma. Zuma is a dedicated recruitment company focusing on data positions across Berlin. The Data for Good podcast is for the world of data science, analytics, and engineering, giving you a platform to hear the thoughts and opinions of data leaders from Berlin and beyond. Today, we are joined by Varun Tyagi, Director of Business and Data Analytics at Forto. Varun, welcome. How are you?
Hi, Matt. Thanks a lot for introducing me. I'm good. I've been doing better. And we have some priority changes like we were discussing. And I'm right now currently working with Forto, working as a Director of Business and Data Analytics, as you rightly mentioned. And Forto, if like your viewers don't know, Forto is a logistic company, digital freight forwarder company, and also shipping logistic management. And we provide supply chain upgrades, and also our vision is for everyone to own their own supply chain, and this
Okay.
is what we're aiming at. And with the companies such as Photo, we are also working a lot with data, and this is really important for us because we are having clients from all over the world, and we are mainly focusing in the European countries and also trying to go into US. And if we also want to go to public in the future, we want to make sure that we have a proper data strategy in place.
Yeah.
So that's why data is really important to us. And we want to provide insights. We want to provide more insights from data science perspective, also from data analytics perspective to our clients so that they can also make data-driven decisions. So this is in a nutshell, my job here in Photo to
Yeah.
provide these solutions to our clients.
Awesome. So not only being a data-driven company, enabling your clients to be data-driven as well.
Yes.
Amazing. And as a director across the analytics sector at Forto, in a sentence or two, what are your main responsibilities in the team?
My main responsibilities mostly are about understanding the requirements from us internal stakeholders as well as from customers. So it's basically also an interface between what management requires, what the company requires, realizing those visions, using the tools and the sets that we have, and also optimizing the processes, trying to come up with new solutions for our clients, and in the sense only from analytics perspective, and also updating any kind of data quality issues if there is anything in the process and data pipeline. So we have this the entire data journey is being divided into two parts. One is being owned by the data engineering team, and the other one is owned by data analytics team, which is my team. So from data warehouse above, which is the
Yep.
reporting level that we take care of, but from the down below, the downstream, the upstream, which is the ELT part, and everything is being owned by the data engineering team. So my job is also to maintain these two teams together,
Yeah.
bring them into unison, so that we can also offer good solutions and good without any biases, and the data quality in the entire supply chain is also taken into account at a proper manner.
Awesome. It's always good to hear a little bit of background, bit of context, and to understand your viewpoint to back up the topics that we are here to talk about today. So we're going to cover a couple of areas, mainly around data mesh and also data quality as well. From your point of view, your perspective, there's many different flavors, but how would you describe data mesh?
Okay, so I would describe like data mesh is kind of I would say it's a new concept that has emerged from 2019 itself, and there are only a few companies who wanted to get into this data mesh principles, and it's just like a simple kind of principles which you can implement on your data architecture. So, I mean, it might seem like a very promising approach to data management, I would say, but there would be some differences, when you actually in theory what you see and when you actually implement in the real world what kind of challenges you might face. So it's a nice technique for data management. We just need to be careful as to pick up how and when do we need to implement data mesh. So we have observed a lot of challenges as well, which I might describe later in the future.
Yeah. If it was a very perfect environment and data mesh was super theoretical and it would be super easy to run, what would it look like in that kind of environment?
I think what I've seen from my experience is that there is no one size fits all policy.
Hmm.
So here, I mean, data mesh can be good for certain companies which have like not huge legacy systems, which are
Yeah.
in the current stages, who are trying to create their entire data infrastructure from scratch, I would say. So some companies, maybe like startups, can also start implementing data mesh. The problem comes in, or the challenge comes in, when you have a lot of huge legacy systems and you have
Yeah.
different kind of a data culture in the company. When you start implementing those things, you also need to be aware of the change management and the inertia that you might encounter from different stakeholders,
Hmm.
because data mesh gives this decentralized approach towards data management, in which all the information, or all the ELT processes, everything is being managed by the the departments themselves. So in that case, data engineering is not becoming a bottleneck sometimes when it becomes a
Yeah.
bottleneck. So I think in an ideal world, I would say, like, we have data person sitting in every department, who are well versed with the ELT processes, who are well versed with all the extraction, transformation, and loading processes, who
Hmm.
knows how to clean the data, how to create the data products. So, and an ideal situation would be, we have a proper data governance structure in companies
Yeah.
who are maintaining these different data products as well. And ideal scenario would be 100% data quality, which is not feasible, to be
No.
honest. From my experience, I've seen that. So we can at least aim at like 90%, 95% data quality corrections. And even for that, we need to, the entire process is not cumbersome. It's actually very interesting, but the kind of challenges that you run through, you gain a lot of experience in that field too,
Hmm.
which we actually also felt here when we are trying to implement data mesh
Yeah. I mean, reality versus theory is a huge,
now.
hugely different thing.
Yeah.
When you've initiated and implemented this, when you first decide to go with the data mesh setup, what are the initial considerations you need to make?
I think in data mesh, what we actually wanted to achieve was improvement in data quality, and we tried to identify the root causes of why the
Hmm.
data quality is not up to the mark that we would want to have. And even before this data quality came into picture, we were also interviewing our different customers, and we wanted to understand what are the things that they would actually like to see in our platform. So they also mentioned about this, some important timelines that they would want to see, some important dates that they would want to look at.
Hmm.
So we decided, and we started working with them. We call them moments of truth. But when we went into the data and we saw those data points, like, the data quality was, I would say, if we have the 7 attributes of data quality, we started
Hmm.
measuring all those 7 attributes, and we found out that some data were not even 40% complete. Sometimes they're 70% accurate.
Hmm.
Sometimes they are, the integrity of the data is also not there. So we went into detail and tried to understand, gauge these parameters
Yeah.
of different data points. So we thought, okay, I think it's better to, first of all, we cannot look into every data point at the same time. So we went our way back. So we defined some, like, for example, if you want to say estimated time of departure, if you want to
Yeah.
check that, we would go back and say where this information is coming from and what is the source that is being used. Why
Yeah.
is the data quality not up to the mark? So we divided these data paths into different kind of data categories. For example, we divided that transport plan data. That's one of the categories that we have. We
Hmm.
have partner booking data, for example. We can also have buying rate data, selling rate data, and customer master data as well, partner master data. So we work with a lot of different data points. So
Hmm.
when we divided those data points into these categories, then we started tackling them one by one. So we said, okay, let's focus, let's see how we can improve that. So before going to data mesh, we were thinking that let's form a committee. Let's
Yeah.
form people who are there to observe what needs to be done. We formed that. Then we identified these categories, like I was mentioning to you. And in that moment, we said, okay, before even going to data mesh, because it involves huge investment
Yeah.
from the company side as well. So we thought, let's take it as a very in a very like a small pilot phase and try to understand how we can improve this. So we define those data quality requirements. So like what needs to be done, what is the target state that we want to be at. Then we also then implemented this data validation and cleansing tools. Where
Yeah.
are we going to be monitoring them? So we also went with certain tools and we decided them. We had a proper analysis. We did the proper analysis, and then we ensured all the 7 critical data quality points that we want to measure, because measurement is also very important for any data quality project to be taken into effect. So we were always measuring these things, and we allocated different roles within the company. So, for example, we would choose data producers. Who would be the data producers? And these are
Yeah.
the ones who are actually putting in the information in the tool level.
Yeah.
Then we also had these data consumers who are consuming the data. So we define different roles, like we have data stewards, data quality committee, and members. So these were the different roles that we defined, and based on their position in the data pipeline, we discussed with them the operationalization of this data quality committee that we actually came up with. Then, like I said, we also implemented this data monitoring and reporting. We also did data profiling, in which, like I said, we chose the different tools, what we wanted to measure. Then we also, the most important thing in the entire stuff, what we did was training employees on data quality. What exactly does it mean? And
Yeah.
why it's so important for everyone to have this, everyone to take part in this data quality program. Because without people, it's not possible to improve the data quality, because they're the
Yeah.
ones who are feeding in the data. So we did this. So I think from, if I were to give you in numbers, from certain aspects which were like around 40%, 50%, like the KPIs that we had for data quality,
Yeah.
some of them improved to 85% in the last
Oh,
six,
wow.
7 months. So this was only because we were able to dedicatedly focus on certain points. And this was a very pilot thing, because you wanted to launch something for the customers, and you wanted to make sure that this is the data quality there is at least up to the highest standards. So this is how we went about introducing these data quality measures.
Yeah.
Then we thought that I think this is not enough. We should not just stop right here. We need to tackle the problem, nip the problem in the bud. So
Yeah.
that's when we thought, okay, I think maybe something should be changed from the architecture level. So in the
Okay.
architecture, we only had three, 4 layers, and then we said, I think we are getting a lot of requests in data engineering, and they're not able to focus on improving the data quality measure. So it's the problem is that most of the time data engineers, what I have seen is that they mostly are debugging something, they're mostly maintaining some pipeline, they're
Yeah.
maintaining something else, something broke, and management is asking for the report, so they do not have enough resources to focus on changing the architecture. So we made a special team in which they would just focus on these improvement in the architecture. And then we came about like with the 4 layer architecture, which
Yeah.
specifically maintained with who is accountable, who is the owner, and who would be the ones who are maintaining the entire thing. And then we stumbled upon these data mesh principles, because there were 2 people. I also wanted to implement data mesh in my previous company, and I was in discussion with some of the providers in the market as well. But then when I came to Forto, I also discussed, had this proposal to the management, and the other person from data engineering also had this proposal. So we said, okay, let's try this as well. But
Yeah.
the problem with data mesh is it's not problem, but it's like the challenge would be that there are you can't. What I've seen is you can't start at a very small level. Like, let's implement data mesh. Just want to transport plan data. So
Yeah.
if you're going in there, you need to go the whole hog basically.
Okay.
So this is still in the, how would you say, in the planning stages. So we have defined all the plans, how are we going to tackle it. And the best part would be that now we can also implement proper data governance measures
Yeah.
on top of the data quality measure that we were facing. But I can also talk about some some challenges, what we went through when we were defining these data mesh.
Yeah. One thing that jumps to mind is time.
Yeah.
Data flow doesn't stop. So, yeah, how? how do you dedicate time to a future investment and thinking about the future when there are immediate needs and maintenance? How that team that you set up, how
Yeah.
difficult was it for them to stay focused?
I think whenever we are investing in certain I would say that it's not a meteoric thing, but if you're investing something which is so huge, which has
Mhm.
huge repercussions for the future, and also for you as a company, because if you want to go public, if you have such visions that you want to make shipping, like logistics, as easy as sending emails with the click of a button,
Yeah,
we need to make sure that the data quality is at the highest level. So
yeah,
it's all about communicating to the management and getting their buy-in. So when we get the buy-ins, so this team has complete autonomy on how they want to design things. Of course, there's a
yeah.
committee as well. So we always give preference to the data quality measures, and we define those teams. This is a responsibility. We want to have this delivered by the end of, we have the proper roadmap, how we want to
Mhm.
achieve it. And we are also working with our partner companies who are helping us out with best practices that we want to do. So this
Yeah.
committee, under the aegis of our different directors and EVPs in our company, we are discussing continuously with our partner companies as well into
Mhm.
preparing this roadmap. And they're also giving us support. So this is good. So this investment needs to have a buy-in from the management, and
Yeah.
that's the key.
So, alongside the outside support, are you training or are you hiring these specific specialists?
No, we are not hiring them. It's just like a support. We have this in our contract that if we
Yeah.
we get like around 5 hours per 2 weeks bi-weekly support from them, and this is already included in the contract. So, and the best part is that they already have a lot of experience with data mesh implementation with their partner clients, so they
Yeah.
already know where to start, how to start. So this is the thing, when you can learn everything, Zara Digmani, I think she was the one who came up with data mesh concepts. You
Yeah.
can read the book, it's available. But when it comes to actual implementation, so you always need to rely on the people who have actually implemented that and
Mhm.
learn from their challenges, their successes, and then move forward. So for example, if I were to give you one example, is that we are always talking about, data mesh always advocates for data ownership and distribution, where each team
Mhm.
is responsible for their own data. But it can also lead to conflicts and confusion. In the teams, they may not have the necessary expertise. So who's going to be owning that? So need to create that talent before in the teams, before you are trying to implement the data mesh principles. That
Yeah.
was the first challenge that we had to face. And it also, in theory, it also mentions that it promotes the use of domain driven design principles to create autonomous data domains,
Yeah.
But in the real world, if you see, these creating these data domains can be very challenging. How would you define these data domains? Do you define these data domains on the market, on the microservices, or are you going to define them based on the existing architecture that you have in data? So
Mhm.
this kind of challenges can only be answered by people who have actually implemented that.
Yeah. Absolutely. So many challenges. I'd be
Yeah.
interested to hear if you could leave a note to Varun in the past. He was just
Mhm.
starting out
Yeah.
his implementation. You could leave
Yeah.
yourself a little note under your laptop. What would you say? What advice would you leave?
I think what advice I would definitely leave for my previous self would be, you need to be prepared for all these challenges beforehand. Try to, whenever you are trying to implement something new, the first thing you need to understand is understand all the pros and cons of your decisions, what are happening. If you're
Mhm.
making a change in the data infrastructure, you need to make sure that to create a parallel system rather than breaking the system that is already running, because it also requires some KPIs and the reports are
Yeah.
also based on that. So you need to have these projects running in parallel. So we need to be really aware of the kind of cost that would be involved here. And to get that cost involvement, you need to be prepared in advance for the management buy-in and assess all these things beforehand, anticipate these challenges rather than trying to learn them on the go, what might happen, what is happening. So I would leave this advice for sure. Be prepared for anything which you want to, which you're revolutionizing in your own data architecture in the company. That has huge repercussions for the customers as well. So So it's an Amazon principle as well. You think about the customer and then you act as an owner. You just go back what they want and try to make sure that they are satisfied, whatever you're working in your own domain. So these are the things that I would definitely advise my previous self for sure.
The power of hindsight.
Yeah.
Amazing. So theoretical versus real world. Is it possible to reach the theoretical Valhalla, or is
Nice
it
word.
is it case by case? Everyone has their own situations and challenges.
Yeah. I think in a B2B log tech company as Forto, we definitely have different challenges than we have in B2C companies. For example,
Mm-hmm.
in B2C companies, you can have a lot of data science topics, which can have attribution modeling, for example. You can have discount optimization models. You can have some other models. So the data quality requirements for those companies are a bit different.
Mm-hmm.
But data quality requirement for us are huge. The problem and the reason is that we have huge ticket sizes. We have ticket sizes in millions of dollars. So
Yeah.
when we have such a huge clientele who have such huge ticket sizes, then we also need to be very, very aware of the things that we are providing to the customers.
Mm-hmm.
So data quality in B2B business is really, really important. Of course, it's important in every industry, but for
Yeah.
B2B, it's really important. So I would say that achieving that 100% data quality, like I mentioned before, is not possible. But we need to see what data points that we have, which are customer facing, in which there is an involvement of the customer. How far can we reach in those data points? What kind of KPIs can we achieve for those data quality data points?
Mm-hmm.
That's really important. And I think in theory versus the real world, as you were saying,
Yeah.
it would require some time to reach there. It's not, I would say it's not a 3 months or a 6 months topic. It's a continuous topic that you have to implement for the next 1.5, 2 years. And you need to have a buy-in for that longer period. You are kind of marrying to this topic for long term, even though
Mm-hmm.
you have external help from the consultants. So we just need to be aware of these things. And I think it's not impossible. It's just a lot challenging to actually read that
Yeah.
theoretical kind of the principles that data mesh actually proposed, I would say.
How important is it to manage client expectations about what is actually possible when it comes
Mhm.
to the insights that we're providing?
I think what I have also observed with our clients is that they're also very data driven. When it comes to understanding the data points, they're very open to having analytics as a value added services for them. So we
Mm-hmm.
have our own platform. So in our own platform, we are not providing them the analytics service. We are providing them in Tableau, because Tableau has like huge functionality in
Yeah.
terms of what it can do. So we are providing them the analysis there. And whenever we are showing them something, they always want to ask for more. Oh, nice. This is something, and it's their own data basically. So they're always trying to go for more, and we're always managing their expecting, yes, this is possible, this is not possible. And if you want to have this, then we would also require some integration with your data sources, with your integrations with your own domain, what data you're working with. So we
Yeah.
can provide you with some kind of predictability as well. And this is something that we always are in touch with our clients. And there is a strategy team as well, which are very close to our clients, who are discussing these things, who are getting their requirements, and they're interfacing with the BI team and the technology
Mm-hmm.
team to understand how we can manage their expectations in that case.
Very, very valuable point. And it's great that so many companies are so data driven. When we kind of look to the future and the developments of data and insights, it's innovating at breakneck speeds, and the
Mhm.
introduction of different tools. What kind of role does generative AI, ChatGPT in particular, have in the B2B space?
Yeah.
What can it solve? I mean, this is a bit of fun. It's not something that we know, but how can it improve the current situation?
I think with the advent of a lot of these large language model tools, such as like ChatGPT, GPT has actually opened a lot, like a huge gamut of implementation that we can actually achieve from these things. For example, we can have like increased automation in the supply chain. It will play a bigger role in the business world going forward. Improving efficiency and reducing cost, which is always a goal when you have such huge ticket sizes. So we
Yeah.
can entirely automate the our supply chain, for example, in that case. Then it also, I think, it also helps in more like better decision making, I would say, in the sense that when the businesses need to take better decisions, then we can have accurate and timely insights when we are providing those accurate and timely insights to our customers. So they can also have this better decision making. Sometimes we can automate the entire supply chain, but there would be some manual intervention required somewhere. So with the advent of like robotic process automations, we can also automate some manual tasks using writing some codes in RPA. That's also something that we can do. And I think in the customer service aspect, it can also like play a huge role. For example, we have this AI powered chatbots and virtual assistants. So we
Hmm.
can also, okay, I'm not an advocate of reducing workman,
Yeah.
but manpower, sorry, but this can hugely like increase the efficiency with which how we are interacting with the clients, how we are interacting, answering their questions. So these AI powered chatbots can actually it can replicate the human behavior sometimes, of course not emotionally, that we are still far away from that, but it can answer basic questions. So just answering these chatbots, and it has been for a long time, it has been already there in practice, but
Yeah.
coming to this implementation here in the B2B world, I think that will also play a huge role. Then we can also have, from my industry, I can say that we enhance supply chain management, for example. We can also do that. It will help companies like us to help our clientele to have this optimizing their entire supply chain by again providing real-time insights into what kind of inventory levels they have, how much delivery time, what kind of delivery delay they can have, measure
Hmm.
these things, and other critical metrics as well. But moreover, I think it can also apart from B2B, like B2B logistic company, it can
Yeah.
also give rise to some new business models going forward, like subscription-based services, for example. It can also come to that conclusion. Kind of predictive maintenance can also be one area that we can actually focus on, have a business kind of with different business model altogether.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have outcome-based pricings, by we can leverage this power of AI and data analytics in this case. But some people actually, what I think is some people are also afraid that it might replace them. But what my idea of AI actually is that it cannot replace the human behavior, the human touch, the emotional intelligence that we have. It might, but it will take at least like 10 to 15 years or more than that.
Yeah.
But with the way things are unraveling, even the father of AI, who was in Google, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, he resigned from Google to speak about like what a monster we have created in AI. But to be
Hmm.
honest, like I still think that AI is there to support us. For example, self-driving cars. They are also AI dominated, right? So, but they're helping us out, and these it's just to improve our efficiency. Of course,
Yeah.
we should not start taking a nap while selfless car is driving, but we should still be vigilant. And accidents can happen with anyone, with humans as well. So I think AI is not something to replace human beings. It's not a Terminator movie, but just want to say that there is somebody behind those AI as well who we need to have proper vigilance also on AI models, I would say. And of course, with the kind of regulatory talks that are happening these days about regulating AI, like for safety of
Mm.
for all the systems and accountability and having transparency, because a lot of companies are not putting in their critical data in the platforms like ChatGPT because they don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
No.
So putting something on top of AI is something we can definitely leverage.
Absolutely. I'm with you. I think it's a tool to be used. Conscious of time, so I want to finish with one kind of concept that I guess if AI is able to run simple analytics itself via chatbots, and clients can ask simple requests. That gives us more time to work on more complex analytics. How much complex problems can we solve if we were removed from the tedious and repetitive tasks? Where can we get to with analytics?
I think, with analytics, I'm pretty sure that we have. So we started off by simple, bar charts, histograms, and just line charts and everything.
Yeah.
But now with the analytics, we have this entire pipeline of, how would you say that? We can create proper stories, proper business cases based on one-to-one. So it's not just one thing that we are focusing on, only the revenue. We can actually dig into why this revenue is like this, in what domain is it like this. So these are the critical points that analytics can actually solve for you. So analytics is actually evolving from answering the question what happened to why it happened, and now what can potentially we do to not make the same mistake again. So this evolvement from just analysis, from historical analysis to prescription and prediction is somewhere this analytics is heading. And there might be some overlaps probably in the future with the data science as well. So it's also about prediction and forecasting. So this evolution that we are seeing in analytics is, I think I would not say it's like it's not a focal point, to be honest, but it's always evolving with the advent of new tools. Like now we had Tableau, which is the market leader. Now we have Looker. Looker is also creating some structure in a layer, in the semantic layer, in which you can control the KPIs. So nobody can change the KPIs. You can define those KPIs by themselves. So this is what I think analytics is moving towards, and it is not. I think it is not far away when we can actually analyze from the Internet of Things, whatever data that we're collecting huge data points. And even in analytics, we have seen moving from SQL structured data to having running queries real time on NoSQL and unstructured data directly. So we don't even have to modify anything. So this is where analytics is moving, and this is going to be evolving as well in the future. Nobody can tell actually the way the technology is changing almost every 6 months. New topics are coming over. Like ChatGPT was introduced only in, I think, October, November, and we already have multitudes of applications built on top of ChatGPT. So you can already see the evolution. And ChatGPT was only trained on, I think, millions of variables. Now ChatGPT 4 is trained on billions of variables. Then it will be trillions of variables. But what I think is sometimes it's also not sustainable because it also involves a lot of costs. So what I think is the more technology is evolving, the more economies of scale we're going to be seeing in the future, and the more affordable it would be for us to also work.
It's going to be fascinating to excuse me. It's going to be fascinating to observe this, and we'll look back in a few years and see how right we were. But unfortunately, that's all we have time for today. Thank you very much for your time and your rich insights, Varun.
Thanks a lot, Matt, for inviting me here.
It's been an absolute pleasure. To listeners, do drop any questions and feedback. We'll pick some out to be answered in the future, and don't forget to like and share so we can reach as many people as possible. But it is bye from us. Thanks once again, Varun.
Thanks a lot, Matt, and have a great weekend.
You too. Ciao for now.
Bye.